two words that we mentioned the most at the start of this match on ESPN Cricinfo Match Day was Andre Russell. Funny enough, that was the two words that were seen the least in the game that just panned out. Despite that, Kolkata Knight Riders have won their fourth encounter out of a total of 5 games that they've played. It's exactly the opposite for Rajasthan Royals. They've lost 4 and won only 1 in the 5 matches that they've played. Joining me, Sean Tate, and a very lucky Sanjay Manjrekar for us, because since he's come, it's the first time that we've had 2 games finish bang on time. In fact, one of them finished much before time. Maybe we should have him more often here on ESPN Cricinfo Match Day through the IPL. Here's a look at the scorecard then. Rajasthan batted first, 139 for 3 in their 20 overs, thanks largely to 7-3 not out by Steve Smith. Kolkata chased it down comfortably, 140 in 13.5, 37 balls to spare, and Chris Lynn, the star there, with 50. In fact, it was the opening partnership between Chris Lynn and Sunil Narine that really did the job for them. Okay, we'll start with that opening partnership. Sunil Narine, you get a feeling whatever he gets you is bonus, and today was one such day.
Yeah, it was a wild card when it happened the first time a couple of years back. I thought it was a great move. They saw it in the Caribbean Premier League. He had this skill of hitting the ball and had a nice swing of the bat, has a good ball sense. And he's never going to feel the pressure like an Ajinkya Rahane feels at the top of the order, because he's in the team primarily as a game-changing bowler. Yeah. So batting is a bonus. He's always going to be free-spirited. At the halfway stage, we said, let's wait for KKR to bat on this pitch, so we'll get an idea about the pitch. Because when Rajasthan Royals were batting on it, it seemed like a pitch that was difficult to score off. In the end, I would like to conclude saying that the team that didn't worry about getting out was the team that won.
Okay, we have plenty of discussion points on that. I'm just staying with Sunil Narine, Sean. I'm just looking at how is it that Rajasthan approached. They got the off-spinner, Gautam. We've seen him do rather well with the new ball. Pick that wicket against a left-hander. Did the right thing. But somehow we've seen this ability of Sunil Narine. Even the ball that's going away from him, he can whack it over mid-wicket.
The thing is, going away from him is fine, but when you bowl it on leg stump, it's not, or pitches outside leg, you're not going to get wickets there. So maybe a little bit more, give it a bit more air and get it outside off stump, or make him reach for a type thing. I know that sounds like he's going to free his arms, but bowling on his legs, he loves that there. He can hit it over to the onside of the ground. So they weren't really bowling wicket balls. I thought when Kolkata bowled, they were always attacking the stumps, always LBW opportunities and wicket balls. And Rajasthan just probably missed a trick there. But at the end of the day, he just chanced himself. He took the game on, and it paid off for him.
Okay, would you conclude, as you mentioned, that the team that took more chances has ended up on the winning side? When Kolkata came out to bat, the first 3 overs, scoring more than 10 runs an over, not losing a wicket, the game was done?
Absolutely, and we actually saw how Rajasthan Royals also started. In fact, the first over was bowled by Piyush Chawla, and Ajinkya Rahane could have done the same thing, just gone straight away after Piyush Chawla. And this is how T20 is going to evolve. People are not going to sort of, after 5-10 years, take time to settle down, because every ball is a moment, and here's a great opportunity for an Indian batsman. A leg spinner bowling with a new ball, just 2 fielders outside the circle. Why not make that first over count for 10-15 runs? It's always about trying to build an innings, and if you have those kind of players and not too many of Andre Russells in your side, all the building of the innings is going to cost you. Steve Smith did the same thing, and they don't have that kind of big hitter. Stokes is not coming off as often as they would like. So in the end, this is what you're going to get, because there are 2 players, Steve Smith and Ajinkya Rahane, who are happy to play at a strike rate of 100. That's one too many. Maybe at the most one you can have to anchor the innings.
We've got actually Ajinkya Rahane and Steve Smith's inning to watch out for in match points in ESPN Cricinfo Match Day. But for the moment, we'll turn our attention to how the Kolkata seamers performed. We'll start with Prasidh Krishna. Sean, before the match started, we were talking about Kolkata. They rely on those 3 spinners. Yes, their numbers aren't great compared to previous season, yet they are the ones who really keep them in the game. This time I'm talking about 2 young spinners. Let's start with Prasidh Krishna. Impressed with the pace that he's bowling at?
Absolutely. The thing is, they're all doing their job now. The spinners and the pacers are doing their job as well. They're a good team. That's the thing. What we saw tonight was a good team against not a very good team right now. So, but yeah, young guy, sort of burst onto the scene a little bit, and he's impressing everyone in the competition at the moment.
Harry Gurney doesn't have that much pace about him, but plenty of variations. That's all you need to be successful.
And perfect for Indian pitches, and the pitches are going to get slower and slower as they get tired. I think in Harry Gurney, KKR have found a long-term seam solution for a long time they've been looking for one seam bowler because their bowling attack has been about 3 wrist spinners or 3 spinners, and somebody like a Umesh Yadav in the past, or one of the young fast bowlers. Prasidh Krishna also bowled superbly. I mean, the last 2 overs of that innings from KKR, they considered what? I mean, they had said batsmen batting out. Their Stokes was there, Steve Smith, and they may have considered about 10 or 11 runs in the last 2 overs.
Yeah.
That's a phenomenal bowling performance.
All right, we'll take a look at Harry Gurney's number, how he's done across the globe as far as T20 cricket is concerned. He's played 26 games there, he's picked up 3 wickets, good average there of 20 there, and a great strike rate as well. Economy 7.4, which would say an average in a T20 match. You picked him, Sanjay, in your 11 even before you saw much of him. I mean, you clearly had confidence in his ability.
I'm not so sure that, I mean, when I did the Reiki that I do,
Yeah.
I saw that he had a lot of experience, and that was, I think, something that, I fell back on. And the fact that the pitch was slow today, and that suited his bowling perfectly. Even in the picture, he looks such an earnest young cricketer, isn't it? I think I'm very happy for KKR that they've found somebody here.
They've got 2 young fast bowlers doing very well for them, along with the 3 spinners that they already have, who've done rather well from them across all seasons in the IPL. Now to our discussion point, we go back to how Rajasthan started, and this is examining Ajinkya Rahane's inning. Is he putting pressure in the RR batting? I'll throw that question straight to you, Sean.
Yes, but that's the main answer. But at the same time, we know he's a class player. He's certainly good enough to be in the side. But in T20 cricket, it comes down to the simple basics of if you've got 2 players out in the first 6 overs, the ball's hard. You've got to take the game on a little bit. Okay, he played a couple of shots where he tried to go over the top in that early stages there, but just too many dot balls. Actually looking for singles rather than looking for the boundary. Brad Hodge used to always say, playing at Rajasthan, boundary first and work your way down. So 6, 4, and work your way down rather than just knock around singles when you could be capitalising on those deliveries. The other thing is it just seems to me like they're almost going along like, oh, we'll get 160, and if we bowl well, we should win the game. That might be enough in this wicket. No, you can't play like that in T20 cricket.
He threw the gauntlet down towards the Indian selectors when he said, I should be part of that World Cup team. He said it in as many words. Do you think he himself is putting pressure on him after he's, he knows that IPL probably is the last sort of a platform for him to fight that?
For a long time, he's been silent. He's had a couple of difficult years. Virat Kohli has dropped him from test matches as well. He's been tried in white ball cricket. He's never convinced me as somebody that can take the place of the guys who are already there. He's got to be better than the guys who are already in the team. And he hasn't convinced me as a one-day player. But it was right for him to speak out and put pressure on the selectors. But you're right. It puts pressure on himself as well. It's not just him. I see Rahul as well. Lokesh Rahul under pressure with that World Cup selection. Vijay Shankar will start feeling the pressure after a couple of failures. So that is starting to happen and playing an important role and affecting certain teams because the players are thinking long term and not just about winning this IPL game.
But don't you think, I mean, he's a really likeable bloke and a likeable character. Unassuming, goes about his business. But if he starts leading properly from the front and that they start winning games, people in India will start talking about him more. Even if he's not performing, they'll be like, Rahane's leading this team well.
Yeah.
His captaincy's great, the team's winning. Then we'll start talking about him getting back in the Indian team.
You should, if you remember Ajinkya Rahane for the first couple of years when Warney was captaining
Yes.
and Rahul took over later, and there was no pressure, and I actually was surprised with the kind of shots Ajinkya Rahane possessed because at that time we knew Ajinkya Rahane as this first-class run getter, averaging about 58 there, played test matches before anything, but he had the shots for T20
It was great
cricket.
to watch back. It was good to watch back. Yeah.
Yeah. So you got to do one of 2 things. You were part of that Rajasthan Royals team. We've seen him. He was never the guy who would get you over 150 as far as strike rate is concerned, but he would get you those consistent 50s. I remember one season he went through getting those consistent. So he has to do one thing, and that one role he's not at the moment fulfilling.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. He's got the ability to hit it over the top at the start. He's got a great pull shot, steps back and hits it over point. He's got all the shots and he can do it. It's just, it's probably a mind thing for him, isn't it?
Okay, we'll turn our attention to the next point now. I don't know what to make of that knock. It's 73 yes on the scorecard. Came off 53 deliveries at a strike rate of 122 for Steven Smith. I'll let Sean decide that. What do you think? Is that the knock that you'd give credit for taking Rajasthan to where they did, or was that the knock that actually sealed the fate for the team?
Well, credit's taken to a low total that got beaten. That's what it was, really. So it's not credit. I mean, and at the end of the day, you look at the innings and go, well, Steve Smith got the runs. No one else got them. He got the runs. He ended up, his first half of his innings wasn't, it wasn't the Steve Smith we know. Then he started getting into a bit of form and playing nicely. So I'm sure he goes away individually saying, right, I'm finding my feet now. But I just think as an actual franchise trying to win games, you look at it and go, okay, maybe we're not quite there. But it's a really tough one. It's a 50-50 one. Can you criticise and be harsh, or can you just say, look, he got 73 not out and played pretty well?
I wouldn't be as harsh, only because there wasn't an Andre Russell waiting in the wings or a Hardik Pandya, and he was consuming time and not giving them an opportunity. Who are we looking at? Because Ben Stokes came with 2 or 3 overs left. He couldn't get the ball, out of the park. So Ben Stokes as well. You've got to raise questions about his ability. He was supposed to be this big hitter who comes in and does the Hardik Pandya or the Pollard or the Russell for Rajasthan Royals. He's not doing it as much. So in the end, they got, Steve Smith got what he could. Maybe Gautam could have come in and played, but there isn't much there, is there?
I mean, maybe we're taking something away from the Kolkata bowlers. They bowled really well, but we're talking about 2 world-class players here. That, you know what I mean? That normally get on top of good attacks anyway. That's why we're having this conversation. It's not 2 okay players, it's 2 really good players.
What would you do with Ben Stokes now? It's not just a one-off inning. We've seen him not really get off the mark. As we see those players that you expect at number 5, number 6, you got to get on with the game right from the start. Not happening for him.
He can do the job down there. We've seen it before, but maybe it's time to move him up the order. I mentioned maybe having him at 3, and Sanjay said, well, maybe even opening batting. Why not? Get the most use out of a player, a superstar player that you've got. Get as much use as you can out of him now. They've got nothing to lose now. I mean, they've won 1 game. So.
You can clearly see that his confidence is not very high. And let's be fair to foreign players, because they are playing on foreign pitches. It's easy for a Hardik Pandya, because he's playing in his own backyard. It's like Hardik Pandya going to England and, showing the kind of impact that he does here. So Ben Stokes clearly struggled today with the slowness in the pitch, and that's going to happen more often than not. Why not send him up the order? Gautam as well. Just do something different. Ajinkya Rahane starting that innings in a very conservative fashion with Steve Smith to follow. You've actually put that innings in 3rd gear. That's it. It's not going to move from that gear.
If you were an Australian fan, I'm going back to Steven Smith. Was this the inning that he really needed? Is this the inning he could set the platform and make his return?
I can just imagine Fox Sports tomorrow morning in Australia saying Steve Smith's back in the runs, and that's all they'll say. Which is good. To be honest, this is really good for Australia. I mean, and Steve Smith. But right now we're sort of more focused on the Rajasthan Royals.
Absolutely. See, opening position for Rahane is good for Rahane. This knock is good for Steve Smith. But what about Rajasthan Royals?
Not good for them. They've lost 4 games up until now out of the 5 that they've played. Okay, my producer tells me completely out of time, so we've reached the final part of our show. This is the Fab 4 contest. Let's take a look at how Sanjay Manjrekar performed, and these were the 4 players that he picked, and this is his score. He'd gone with Andre Russell, Kuldeep Yadav, Jones Butler, Shreyas Iyer. That's 87 points. I'm just going back by the trend that we see. That doesn't seem like...
What about Kuldeep Yadav bowling 4 good overs, yeah?
He did.
Yeah, but he did not.
Russell didn't
it
get
wasn't
a
the
chance.
best economy. Narain has the best economy. No, Chawla has the best economy. So you usually get that.
I think I got Chawla.
Yeah, well, so that tells me 87 usually isn't the winning total. We'll take a look at how Sean Tate has performed, and this is his scorecard. He's got 107, as I had expected.
Lynn was a good pick.
Ben Stokes has given him 27 points. Chris Lynn, absolutely. 70 points for them. Ben Stokes got best economy as well, I'm told. Okay, so Piyush Chawla with 10 points, 107. Okay, that's 2 and 2 for Sean Tate in Fab 4. Well done.
I had to make up for that.
Yeah, won the big prize.
I had to wake up for that terrible performance earlier on.
Yeah, the quiz. You get a hamper at the end of it.
You got the hamper.
Yeah, and he gets nothing. He just gets,
he gets nothing.
a nod from you. Well done.
He gets our applause.
Small appreciation.
And for one person.
No, we will get plenty of comments on our Facebook page as well as our YouTube page. Well done, Sean Tate, for doing well. Sanjay Manjrekar, thanks so much for your time. That's all that we have for you on ESPN Cricinfo Match Day. We are done with match number 21. We'll see you back again after match 22.